5, 4, 3, 2, 1, 0, ignition, liftoff.
From the chilly white peaks of Alaska to the soft, hot, sandy beaches of South America, I'm Lisa.
And I'm Chris.
You're listening to the GHT Overland podcast. It's going to be an amazing ride, so jump in the back seat as we travel the back roads to national parks and places of wonder and beauty in North and South America. We're ditching normalcy and the daily grind, so join us, just an average couple, living to inspire good, living to inspire adventure.
Hey guys, thanks for tuning in. You're listening to our first episode, an episode that will be focused primarily about us. So if you're curious to learn about us, this is the one to listen to. You know what we should have done?
What?
Had like wine glasses to clink with.
Ooh. With party blowers?
No party blowers. All right, cool. So I think what we'll do is go through and talk just a little bit about us personally, so you get a feeling for our background and where we're coming from. And I think the nicest thing to do would be ladies first.
Why, thank you.
You're welcome. So, Lisa, why don't you tell us a little bit about you, just a little personal history, whatever you're feeling, and maybe a little background on your professional career and where you're coming from there.
Well, I am the youngest of 6 children, and I'm the favorite.
You're the favorite?
Yes.
Nice.
What I remember most about my childhood would be our trips that we would take in the summertime to Idaho. We had some gold mines, and so we would travel there every summer and do a little work and a lot of play.
How much gold did you find?
A couple big-sized nuggets.
Nuggets?
Yeah.
Dang, that's pretty good.
A lot more of the gemstones and garnets and stuff, though.
So some pretty good memories.
Yeah.
Cool. Hey, you know, I've always wondered, I know we didn't plan for this, you've always had this little cap gun that's in our gun safe. What's the deal with that?
Oh, I love that little guy. It's the cap gun my dad gave me each year when we went to Idaho. We were told that it would scare off animals if they got too close, but it was eventually be known that to let my dad know if something was awry.
So, did you carry that or did your brother?
If I remember right, I did.
Why didn't he carry it?
Well, he had too much fun and would always use it, so it would be like cry wolf.
So you're the smart one of the two?
Yes.
I figured so.
Yes.
Okay, sorry, go ahead.
So the outdoors, I really enjoyed. Through high school and graduating, I pursued a cosmetology career. I enjoyed it. I loved it. It wasn't challenging for me. So I went into the banking industry, into collections. So if you owe me any money, I will find you.
Whoa. Do I owe you money? That's right. You have all my money.
Yes, I do.
Great. I guess you found me. Okay, well, you are very good at tracking people down. I got to give you that.
Yeah.
All right, very good. So anything else on either personal or career-wise you want to go through?
Well, to date, we own the 2 franchise businesses. Very rewarding, but it's a lot of work. So I wear many hats.
I've given you many hats to wear.
Yes.
You wear them well.
Thank you. So ideally, what I'm responsible for is behind the scenes. So I make sure people get paid.
Correct. So you are HR specialist. You are our accounts receivable specialist. And you are inputting data entry specialist.
Yep.
And you're the back of the house, so not as much more because we have a store manager to take care of a lot of that stuff. But you're primarily also focused, and your specialty would be the back of the house stuff in the business as well. And you do a great job at that. So let's transition into our new venture into GHT Overland. Is that something that you're as excited as I am about? And if so, what is it that really has you excited to do it?
Well, I think in any major changes or direction one might go, there's always a little nervousness or hesitation because you always want it to go perfectly.
The unknown.
Yeah, it's the unknown. GHT for me, I'd have to say, yes, I believe I'm just as excited as you are. I think it'll give us a chance, like with our relationship, maybe even getting closer or learning more or different about each other. But the traveling, the seeing places, with us being here in a couple years, empty nesters, you want to take advantage of that time. If you're able to, go for it. Because what you hear, from older generations, I wish I would have.
Yeah, so we're going to do it. Good point.
Yeah. So along your personal history, what would you like to share?
I don't really find myself that interesting, but if anybody else wants to know, as a kid I spent a lot of time on the Oregon beach. My dad loved to go dune bugging, so probably, at least once, twice a month during the summer, probably 4 times a month. We'd be at Sand Lake or at Florence, Oregon, doing dune buggy stuff, so in the sand. And at the beach, my mom loved to take walks on the beach. So I have this really deep hunger for being in the wild, not so much the beach, but being out and exploring and finding new different things. And I think a lot of people just have that built into their nature. So that was me, kind of as a kid, and where I'm coming from there. On a career standpoint, basically all I've ever done is sales and marketing. So with, let's say, our current business now, my responsibilities are that sales and marketing, and then operations, making sure that people are trained, that there's processes in place for everything that we do. During a busy holiday season, we often get compliments that, man, you guys really, this thing runs like a well-oiled machine. And of course, that's the biggest compliment somebody could give, because that means things are running very smoothly. And that's a lot of the stuff that I focus on. One of the things with GHT Overland that I'm really excited about is being able to experience and have you experience with me all the amazing things that are out in the wild past the streetlights and the pavement. I've spent plenty of nights out in the wilderness, but without you, and I've always thought, this would be really cool to share this with you. So I'm looking forward to getting out there, looking at stars that you just cannot see in the city, and sleeping out in the wilderness with a campfire, all those super cool things, taking some amazing journals to do our podcast with, taking some really amazing video for our YouTube series, and then really honing in on some photography skills for Instagram and that sort of thing, and hopefully prints that we can sell and try and monetize a little bit with what we're doing. So that's where I'm coming from.
I have a question.
Yes.
So when it comes to lighting the fire pit, will you let me light it?
Well, you lit the first fire pit that we ever camped on. It's like a test. You passed. You know that. It's funny. So if you're curious, those of you that are listening in podcast world, before we got married, one of our first dates, is that fair to say?
Yeah.
Our first overnight date.
Yeah.
Right? Like camping date. I don't remember even what I did, but I put you in charge of lighting the fire, getting the fire going, thinking that's not going to happen.
Yeah,
and
he
I
laughed.
did whatever it was I was going to do and turned around and literally you had a fire going.
Yeah, my dad taught me well.
It was amazing.
All those summers in Idaho paid off.
Yeah, apparently they did. Very good. So let's go through a little bit more transitioning from us to GHT Overland, because that's why all these people are listening to us, is the Overland piece, not that they thought it would be super interesting to learn about Chris and Lisa's past, though it was very interesting. So what is GHT Overland for you? And give us some more specifics on what it is you want to get accomplished by doing this.
I think one of the biggest things is to travel, to get out there and see different sites while we're physically able to. I don't want to be the grandma in the rocking chair that says, I wish I would have.
Cool. I hope a lot of other people do the same thing.
A creativity side would be, I want to cook more. We don't cook a lot at home because we're so busy. It would just alleviate time. So to create even those healthy, exceptional meals somewhere out in nowhere.
Yeah, you can do it.
Yeah.
Okay, good. Anything else?
Just the bonding, just living life. We get so stuck in a rut in the city that it consumes you.
So you want to live life?
Yeah.
Did you say bonding?
Yeah.
That's awesome. Okay, very good. So for me, I think I'm really on the same page. I love to travel. Had a job once where I traveled for, it was like 2 months. 14 weeks seems to come to mind for some reason.
It was longer than 2 months.
And I traveled the entire country.
Like 4 months.
Via airplane and via rental car.
Rental cars.
Didn't get to do any hiking or anything, but it was super cool. I love to travel, and this time I'm dragging you with me. Only be running behind me, I won't have to drag you, right?
Right.
And I totally agree with the creativity piece. I am a creative, so being able to create that photography podcast like what we're doing right now, the YouTube series, super stoked about doing those things. And again, I would agree with you, living life, just getting out, adventuring, finding, doing new things together as a couple, and just making it happen. So super excited about doing that. And I think the other piece for me is giving back. I think it should be really important with all the skill sets that people in our generation, we've had many mentors from our parents, uncles, people that we were in business with that have mentored us. Now it's our turn to help other people and pass on the knowledge and experience we have. That might be in business, it might be in travel from what we learn and experience, or it might be in the outdoors. So I've got, I think it's 12, 13 years in search and rescue now. So there's a lot of experience there, from operations to communications, mapping, survival, all that stuff that I can help pass on. And I love teaching, I love coaching. So hopefully opportunities arise that we can give back and teach and coach other people the things that we know.
Yeah. We're going to run into some pretty cool people, I could imagine. maybe even meeting up with, other overlanders. We all bring something different to the table, I think.
Yeah, and that'll be one of our goals, is to do interviews with overlanders, understanding them, a majority, of course I'm assuming at this point, but that a lot of our listeners are going to be people that are interested in overlanding, maybe not as much business, hiking, survival stuff, but overlanding. So trying to get some interviews with people that we really resonate with in the overland world and learn from them and what they're doing. That'll be something really cool too.
So, Chris, if there are those interested in, how do they reach out to us?
Well, people are going to be able to find us currently on most of the social media platforms. I'm hoping to try and narrow that down to where we find our audience base is. But if we need to manage all these different sites, we will. It would be nice just to do a few and not turn this thing into work and have it enjoyable. But so we're going to, obviously on the podcast, you're listening to that now, which is GHT Overland. And everything you'll be able to find us on is exactly that, GHT Overland. So GHTOverland.com, on YouTube under GHT Overland. Same thing with Facebook, Instagram. We might even get crazy and try the kids' Snapchat thing. I hear that's pretty popular.
Snapchat?
Yeah, I don't know either.
I don't have it.
But so I listen to Gary Vaynerchuk, and I think he's a pretty smart dude. Definitely not safe to listen to at work out loud, but a pretty smart dude. And one of the things that he teaches is just because you don't use it, other people that may want to connect with you may use it, so you better learn it.
Yeah.
So I'm kind of taking that approach, and we'll figure that out. Twitter, I think I forgot to mention that. And another cool thing that I really want to do is to take our podcast and take bits and pieces as we get going and turn it into an Alexa skill, which could then turn into same thing with Google. I don't know what Google Home, what they call it. I think Apple has it. Probably eventually everybody will have it, because audio in the future, I think, is going to be a huge thing.
So give me an example by that.
So an Alexa skill, the way that I see it, it would be like, I ask Alexis in the morning, Alexis, what's my briefing? Right? And then she gives me news, weather, not even news because I don't really care about it, but she gives me weather, and then I listen to a briefing from Gary Vaynerchuk. And I want to do that same thing where people would hear their local weather, then it would go into, hey, what's happening with GHT Overland? And they could live vicariously through us and listen to what our adventure was that day or that week in probably like a 30 to 60 second snippet.
Oh, cool.
Yeah. So always on the cutting edge, us GHT Overland people.
So what's going to be our first main adventure?
Well, that's a good question. And we're going to go about this just like I think everybody should, how I would advise somebody to do it. If there's something you want to go do, something you want to accomplish, just go do it. Not all the pieces are going to be lined up perfect. Not everything is going to be ready. At some point, you just have to get it done. Just like this whole adventure we're going to go on with GHT Overland, from the podcast to the places we go, and even the equipment we use or literally don't have, right? We're just going to make it happen. So I was hoping to get started on the Columbia River Gorge, on a lot of the cool places and the hidden little gems on the Oregon side. But over the summer, we had the Eagle Creek fire that burned an enormous amount of acreage, and I still cannot grasp or wrap my head around the fact that Multnomah Falls is closed. In that entire area along I-84, you can't access. There was people, we went, I think it was on a Saturday and a Sunday. In any case, we spent 2 solid afternoon evenings driving over there trying to find a way to get in to that area. Literally, there are people parked making sure that nobody goes in the exits off from the freeway.
Yeah.
And even if we snuck in a back road somewhere, a side road to let us in that looked like it was open, there was a forest ranger sitting at a blocked barricade making sure that people didn't get in.
Yeah.
So we stopped and chatted with the guy. He was a super cool guy. We took some photos of the maps and the information that he had. And he mentioned that that area might be closed until September of 2018.
Oh.
And this is November of 2017.
Wow, a whole year.
So to close the entire Columbia Gorge for roughly a year is just, I'm just beside myself. It's just crazy.
Yeah.
But they're worried about falling debris, rocks, dirt, mudslides, trees, because there's nothing holding the earth down anymore.
Yeah.
Because it's all burnt to a char. It is still beautiful in its own way. So if you're thinking, oh, the Columbia River Gorge is destroyed and ruined, no, that's not the case. It still primarily looks like it always has. A lot of the burnt stuff was the underbrush. It didn't burn the tops of the trees, but in some areas it is just dirt and black. It's just the way it is. Just a different level of beauty. So I got off on a little bit of a tangent there, but that was my hope. So we're going to kind of switch gears a little bit, and we also know some really amazing places on the Washington side, because that's where we are, and we're going to take you to some of those places. So we went to the other day Naked Falls, which is a beautiful area on the Washougal River with lots of different waterfalls. Some of it seems to be kind of private property, so we need to work out those details before we go in and do some filming and different things, and I'd like to do it on a nice weather day so the lighting is good.
Yeah.
Because it was just a rainy, crappy day.
I can't imagine it being on a beautiful day, because just seeing the rocks in the river was amazing.
Oh, it
was crystal clear, and it looked turquoise. It was super cool.
Yeah, I think a lot of people would be surprised in some of the amazing places that we have here. Okay, very good. So that's kind of where we're going to get started, and we'll start documenting and teaching and learning along the way as we do that.
So, Chris, with our adventures, how are we going to pull this off?
Well, I have a Jeep.
It's a nice Jeep.
It's a pretty freaking nice Jeep. It'll take us literally anywhere we want to go. But as I mentioned before, we don't have all the fancy stuff, right? I got a pretty nice tent. I even got a tent with a stove, but it's kind of a pain to haul around with a Jeep. So we're just going to make it up as we go. There may be some nights that we sleep in the Jeep. I've done that plenty of times on missions with search and rescue, so it's not the most comfortable. I mean, you're not going to get the best night's sleep. We might go really wild and crazy and get a hotel, but I kind of like to avoid that.
Well, I have to agree with you on that, because overlanding, you get out there in the wilderness. Like, I'd rather sleep in the seat in a tent.
Yeah, I agree.
Or just out in the open with the stars.
Yeah, so again, I'm really good about taking things to the aside, right? Overlanding to us may be a little bit different than what the typical or the textbook meaning of overlanding is, which is travel bound by a vehicle. I see overlanding a little bit more than that you're just traveling overland instead of oversea. So the hikes we go on, we're going to take you guys to those hikes and show you some amazing things that you just don't see if you're only in a vehicle.
Yeah.
We'll totally break the rules sometimes and do some kayaking. So that's totally not overland. But we got to the water via overland. So hopefully they don't send us to overland jail, and we'll be okay. All right, so what have we forgotten to cover here? You would ask how we're going to do it. We're just going to get out there and do it. We can, at worst case scenario, make a shelter with an axe, and we're good to go. You probably won't be happy because it's not very comfortable, but it'll be amazing.
Can I use the axe?
You can use the little axe.
But I want to use the big axe.
I know, but somebody's going to get hurt.
I lit your fire.
Yeah, you did light my fire. 23, was it 23, 60, how many years ago?
23, honey.
23 years ago, yes. Okay. So here's the cool part. One of the great things about a podcast is you guys are going to be able to listen to this episode and then immediately go and listen to, I don't know, probably 2 or 3 others. By the time we release this, we're already going to have some shows built up in the hopper, if you will. So feel free to do some binge listening if you like this and go and listen to what our next adventure ended up being, what we did, how we planned for it, and learn from that. So hopefully that'll work out pretty good for everybody. Or, you know, it happens a lot of times.
What's that?
They got this episode because they listened to another one and then they went backwards to figure out who are these crazy nut jobs.
Right.
And here they are. So you don't know. This may be the first one they'll listen to. Yeah, this may be the third, or it could be like 2020 right now. And our awesome listeners, they've gone back to listen to the first episode in November of 2017. How sweet is that? It's like a time machine that goes both ways.
There you go.
All right, so what's next?
Well, I think we just want to reach out and say thank you so much. It's absolutely humbling that you take your time to spend with us and listen to us. So go after your dreams and aspirations with tenacity. Never feel like you need to wait for that perfect time.
That's awesome. Well
Right.
said. So there you go, guys. That's the GHT. Show gratitude, be humble, and have tenacity. Go after the things that you want to go after. Show gratitude. That's super important. We have it really, really good. Be humble about where you're coming from. Don't be that jackass that nobody really wants to talk to because they've always done it 2 times better than whatever you are trying to, you know, say, hey, I went out and did this weekend. And they're like, oh, yeah, I've done that, but faster. Be humble. It's good. Have tenacity. You got to go after what you want to have in life, or it's just not going to show up at your doorstep.
So over the years, we've created GHT.
We have.
Yeah.
That's where it all comes together. So our ask for you, and again, thank you so much for taking your time to listen to our podcast. We really, really appreciate it. If you want to support what we're doing a little bit more, we've got some things set up. You can go to our website, get some swag. We'll have some really cool things there. There's not going to be like a ton of things, but things that we would like use and like. And, I mean, quality stuff, right?
Yeah.
So it's not going to be chintzy stuff. You can do that. You can become a patron. Go to patreon.com, look up GHT Overland, and support us that way. There'll be different levels of pledging and support that you can do. So thank you so much for taking your time to do that. We really appreciate you helping us go through what we're going to do in showing GHT and helping other people and get that message out there. And what else? What else I missed? So, well, because I love photography and I love being in places that not a lot of people get to, there's going to be some really cool pictures. It's not on there yet. I mean, when you're listening to this in 2020, I mean, it's there. Mm-hmm. So just go there, and there's a ton of really cool pictures, and you'll be able to buy prints there. And I appreciate your support in picking up those prints for yourself or for friends and family. And then pass it on. Tell your friends and family about this podcast if you like it, and give us a review. If we did an awesome job, you like what we're doing, you like where we're going with this, go and give us a really good review. If you don't know, that's super duper helpful in us showing up in the search engines so more people can learn about us.
And if you have any recommendations of places, or you might be that additional overlander who want to meet up sometime, and we'll do a trip.
Yeah, you know, I didn't think about that. That'd be really cool. Like if we got like 2 or 3, I mean, I don't know, if you get 20 people, it probably becomes a little bit of a nightmare. But who knows?
Yeah.
But 2 or 3 other couples doing the same thing, hooking up and doing a trip somewhere, there is a off-road trail, pretty much off-road, that takes you all the way from California to Canada. I didn't look up. California may have the same thing. But there's like in Oregon, there's 1,500 miles of off-road, like not just going up a little whoop-de-doo, but like traveling from East Coast, from the coast of Oregon into like Idaho almost.
Okay.
And then from the California border up to Washington. Then there's another similar like trail that's, I mean, it's some off-road and it's some on-road, but primarily off-road, that takes you from Washington to Canada. So we'll do those in little sections, and that should be super cool. And I think that wraps it up. So thanks again, guys, for listening. My name's Chris.
And I'm Lisa.
And we'll see you on the next one.
1, 0, ignition, liftoff.